What's up everyone, it's Q from Retro Q Gaming. It's a nice rainy Friday afternoon here in Ireland, which could basically describe any Friday afternoon here in Ireland. So it's the perfect time for a slight kind of look at a product I've been putting off for a little while now. What is this product? Well, we all know by the title already, but here we go. It's the Afterglow Nur, or Afterglow NUR, depending on which way you look at it. I've always called it the NUR because the Nur sounds weird. PlayStation 4 wireless headset. Now, real quick, this is not an unboxing video, just so you know, so don't expect all that. We're going to look at the headset itself, the physical side of it, some of the features of it, and then we're going to swap back over to some gameplay to actually decide and discuss the quality, the features, etc. on it. Also, just to keep it clear, this headset is my own. It was not sent to me by Afterglow or PDP in any way, shape or form. I have had this headset for actually a decent amount of time, and I didn't buy it. I actually won it as part of a competition, a sales competition, when I was working in GameStop. So everything in this, it's not sponsored or anything like that. It's all to do with myself. So the key thing, or the key things and features to note with this, is that, first off, yes, it is a wireless PS4 headset. It also works with PS3 and also with PC and standard devices that have any type of 3.5mm headphone jack. So, first off, we'll take a quick look at the outside of the box before we swap over to the physical headset itself. So, it has the usual kind of thing you'd have on the front, a picture of the headset with the stand, enough said. Flip to the side, nothing too important. They basically just tell you that it's compatible and customizable with the stand and features of the stand. Nothing important on there. So, same deal with the back of the box basically. They hype up the whole thing. Up to 10-hour battery life, fully customizable based on the actual lights on the headset themselves. There's several types of audio modes, which we'll get into now in a moment, or a little bit later depending on how we focus on this video. And that's basically it. It gives more specs and details of the two different audio modes. One is pure audio, the other being bass boost. So, that's it for the general look of, well, main features of it and the basics of it. We'll swap over to the actual physical look of the headset now, and we'll see how that one goes. So here we go, the actual Afterglow Nur, or Afterglow NUR headset itself, with the actual stand that comes with it. One thing I do want to note is everything that comes in the box, okay, you've got the stand itself, you've got the headset, it's all self-contained, so there is a battery inside it, doesn't need to be taken out or put in or anything like that, because it's already in it once you get it. It comes with a 3.5mm to 3.5mm jack cable, comes with a USB to micro USB cable, as well as it comes with possibly, how can I describe this? Possibly the cheapest and thinnest and smallest optical cable I have ever seen. And I've worked in electronics retail. I've sold literally thousands of different not USB cables, thousands of different optical cables from multiple different brands and multiple different qualities and all, and I have literally never seen one this cheap and thin. Anyway, it does the basic job. I don't personally use that one myself. I've got some good cables that I do use, but we'll take a quick look at it. So, first off, the big thing with the stand itself is what we'll look at. We'll get this one out of the way. So, standard little stand as you'd expect. It's got a nice little clear plastic thing. We'll flip it up real quick. See if I can get in here with the light. There we go. So on the left here, you've got your power input. Okay, so your power input, micro USB, pretty standard stuff. You've got your optical port in the center and your line in your 3.5mm jack line input on the right hand side. Here, as you can see, there's a little gap in the stand. This is actually for cable management purposes, which is always appreciated. However, I will say this, that when you feed the micro USB cable up through the back and out here into the power socket on the left hand side, it puts a very strong strain on the actual cable. It basically bends it at almost directly 90 degrees from up, or from coming in the back up. So I am not a fan of that. It hasn't given me any problems, but I'm just not a fan of cables like that. The optical cable I use also is very thick and it's very high quality. So the one I have also has a kind of, well, it's basically the same deal. On the back, when you look down here, it's just to go with the cable management. So you have the cables going down. There's a nice little groove in here just for them to all kind of go together. And then you can just pop them in here and down through the back of your desk or whatever it is. It also comes with 2 mounts on the back. Probably a bit hard to see because they're black. You know, you can get them in there. And that's for, say, mounting to a wall or something like that as well. The screws are, or 2 screws are provided in the actual box, but it's up to you if you actually use them or not. Chances are you probably wouldn't. But on here at the top, this is obviously the connection to charge the headset. It is a lithium-ion rechargeable battery built into the headset. This here is the status light indicator, so it will glow either white or blue depending on if it's charging, if it's transmitting, or if it's looking for a signal, whatever it is. So we'll move that out of the way for the moment. Get to the actual headset itself. So this is the best way to describe it, okay? We're going to take a better look at it now in a second, don't worry. Just going to zoom all the way back out. You've got the connection up the top for obviously when it sits on here. That's how it charges. It's USB powered. The dock is obviously USB powered to your PS3, PS4 or PC. And why did I put that in here? We're going to go back. So, the main features and functions of the headsets. First off, you've got obviously your cushions at the top. One thing I will note as well, straight away, is it's a pretty weight-wise substantial headset, which we'll talk about in a little bit, at least when we get to my experience with it. So, weight-wise, it's a pretty substantial headset, okay? Obviously it's adjustable on your left and right ear cups. No adjustable band at the top. So there's nothing up here that's actually adjustable. It's all on the left and on the right for your actual earpieces or your ear cups. The ear cups themselves, they're they're not a soft style, fabric-y kind of ear cup that you'd find on, say, the likes of certain models of Astro headsets like my Astro A40s, which are a kind of felt fabric based version. These ones are completely closed and they're more of a, we call it faux leather. Faux leather would probably be the best way of describing it. So that's as far as the ear cup goes, they're 50mm custom drivers. Well, they call them 50mm custom drivers actually inside it. Now, some of the features of the headset real quick as well, if I can get out of my own shadow, is that because of the name, Afterglow, they designed themselves as glowing headsets, and everything to do with these lights up. So we'll quickly turn them on. You'll also get a possible little audio cue.
Welcome, player.
I don't know if you can hear that one. But so the headset as it is right now, it's rotating through all the different colours to try find a wireless signal. Try find a signal from our bad boy bass here. Now, there's a couple of different ways that this, actually, why am I at an angle? There's a couple of different ways that this can actually be done. You can manually set an individual colour to your own preference. You can leave it to cycle through all of them just like it is now. Or you can completely turn them off. On the front here, this is the microphone, by the way. It's a boomless microphone, which we'll talk about later. And on here we have our mode. So if you remember, there's 2 different modes for the audio of this headset. We'll talk about them a bit later as well, but one is pure audio and the other is bass boost. So a quick little, we'll bring it nice and close. See if you can possibly hear this as we switch.
Bass impact activated. Pure audio.
So I don't know if you could hear that, but basically it quickly swaps between whichever input you want, if it's pure audio or your bass boost. On the back here, okay, so let's take a better look at this, if I can stay out of my own light again. You've got your main volume control. Obviously they're all rockers. Well, most of them are rockers. Main volume control. You've got your mic input as well. So that's your chat input, or well, I say mic input, but that's your chat volume. So if you are playing, say, what's a game people play? Not Destiny, obviously. What's an online game on the PS4? Wow, I can't even remember. Let's say you're playing Borderlands 2 with 3 of your friends and you're rocking the stuff, you're on your way to take down Handsome Jack. this will allow you to change the volume of them coming through or not. So if you want to hear them over the game volume, crank it way up. If you want to not hear them or whatever, crank it way down. This is your light switch. So 3 different modes. Obviously these are the 3 different ones I described. You can leave it on the automatically rotating one, you can put it onto manual selection of a single colour, or you can turn it all the way off while retaining all the features of the headset. Down here you've got 2 more inputs as well. You've got your line input, which is your 3.5mm, which can be used to, say, plug into a phone or an iPod or anything like that. And underneath it you've got a micro USB port, which means if you're using the headset in, say, maybe a PC, or you don't want to use it wirelessly, you can actually charge the headset directly from a USB port into the headset rather than setting it back on here. So overall, that's basically it. Oh, one thing I will note as well is the power button, which we've already seen,
Welcome, player.
is also the quick microphone mute button. So you've got, I don't know if you can hear this, but
Comms disabled.
comms disabled,
Comms enabled.
comms enabled, and once again,
Goodbye, player.
to turn it off, you just hold it for a few seconds. So that's the overlook and general feature gist of the headset itself and the stand, but there's not too much to do with the stand. We'll swap back over to some gameplay now, and we'll actually discuss the quality, some of the actual features and experiences, pros and cons that I've had with this particular headset. So now that we've had a look at the actual headset itself, let's talk about the features and my experiences with said features. So first off, the first thing I want to touch on is the fact that the headset is significantly large and is relatively heavy for headset standards, and the first thing that crossed my mind when I first took the headset out of its packaging was that this could easily get uncomfortable or be uncomfortable to wear, or headset fatigue could kick in pretty soon. Fortunately, headset fatigue is not an issue with this Afterglow NUR headset, for the simple reason is despite the actual feel and build quality of it, and yes, it may be relatively heavy for general headsets, but it's to do with build quality and the fact that it's very comfortable to wear, especially in a decent length gaming session. I've worn this for 4, 5, 6 hours straight sometimes, and generally I kind of forget that I'm even wearing a headset. So the fact that it completely negates headset fatigue just completely is a positive aspect in it, and it doesn't feel cheap. It does not feel like a cheap headset. It has a good build quality and it definitely feels it. And kind of a follow-on from what we just talked about is because, yes, sometimes you will be wearing this headset for 4, 5, 6 or 8 hours at a time, battery life. So they claim up to 10 hours battery life. That usually means the volume at the lowest setting and the lights off and things like that. Features cut down to a bare minimum. Personally, with the volume levels I use on this headset, I do keep the lights off. I just have no use for them, but obviously I turned them on for the purposes of demonstration in the video earlier. But overall, I get a pretty damn good battery life out of my Afterglow headset. And I'm talking up to 8 hours in a single full charge, the way I use with my particular settings and all on it. So that's a pretty damn good battery life for a wireless headset. When you compare it, basically, it means that if you have one marathon session of gaming, be it on a day off or a weekend or whatever it is, you're pretty much covered for the majority of the day or the majority of the session, if not the whole thing. If you're one of the people who only plays for a little bit at a time, maybe you play for an hour a day after work or after school or whatever it is, you're going to get probably like a week out of a full charge of this headset. And of course, it's so easy to charge, and if you really want, you can charge it while using it. Instead of putting it back onto the dock or the stand, you can actually just plug the micro USB cable directly into the headset and charge it while using it. Next up, I want to talk about real quick what we can only describe as 1 or 2 small compatibility issues I had. So when using this headset with my PlayStation 3, it gave me no problems whatsoever. It was all very straightforward and very easy to set up. It's almost basically just plug and play and you're good to go. The same pretty much with my PC. If you're familiar with how PC handles USB hardware and USB speakers, it pretty much just works damn good and right away off the bat with that. If I use the optical cable through the USB or optical cable and USB to the headset on PC, it works near flawlessly. Only one time did I ever have to manually change a setting, but that took all of 5 seconds. If you plug it in with a 3.5mm headphone jack into almost anything with a 3.5mm headphone jack, as you'd expect, it runs perfectly and it overrides all your other audio settings as long as your 3.5 headphone jack is connected up, be it a PC, an iPod, or if you're crazy like me and own a Zune, that actually works with it too. That brings me to my first small, or arguably small, we'll see how it's your own personal opinion, con when it comes to this Afterglow headset. So, based on at the multiple different times spent over multiple different months and multiple different versions of firmware at the times I've actually used it, depending on the firmware of your PS4, this headset can have issues. Now, what I mean by that when I say it can have issues is that the volume wheels, the actual chat wheel and the overall headset volume wheel may or may not function, depends on the current firmware of your PlayStation 4. For the simple reason is when I was looking into it, when I was having a little bit of an issue with it on the PS4, there was people reporting things and features stopped working after certain versions of firmware, and they could have potentially been fixed and then possibly rebroken or permanently fixed since then. So the main reasons I want to talk about that is the volume control wheels. So when you go in and set up the Afterglow headset on the PlayStation 4, you go into your audio devices, it recognizes the Afterglow headset, you can swap your input and output to that. No matter what you set the actual PlayStation 4's output volume to, even if you put it on the lowest possible setting without being mute, or you put it on the highest possible setting, or any setting in between, the volume wheel does not make a difference. This does not happen on the PS3. Everything works perfectly on the PS3, the PC, and standard headphone jack devices, but on the PS4, on multiple different versions of firmware that I actually tried it on over the course of about a year, it was consistently broken and never worked for me once. And I've looked into it, and it seems that it's a firmware issue or firmware incompatibility from the PlayStation 4's end of it. So that's a pretty big deal, the fact that your volume wheel on your headset does not essentially work for the PlayStation 4. Take that into consideration when considering purchasing one of these headsets. The chat wheel was the same deal. And while I can't comment on the chat wheel's functionality on the PlayStation 3 or PC, the chat wheel does not affect the PS4 in any way, shape, or form when I was using it. Again, it could be the only way I could actually manually change the chat volume was going into the actual system settings on the PlayStation 4 and doing it that way. So even if I had it on the lowest setting or the highest setting or anything in between, the actual volume wheel on the headset would not affect it in any way, shape, or form. Kind of big oversights or big disappointments, but then again, it seems that it's down to a PlayStation firmware issue rather than an actual headset issue, so I can't fully blame Afterglow, that is, if that is true and the case is a Sony issue. So we only have 2 more points to talk about, and then we'll wrap all this up. One of them is extremely positive, the other one is actually extremely negative. We'll start with the positive one first. And that positive one is the sound quality. So the sound quality on the Afterglow NUR, what is it like? First off, I kind of left this out earlier in the video by accident. This is a stereo headset. It is a digital stereo headset because it will take and process digital signals as well as analog signals. So just remember that going in, it's not a surround sound headset. But having said that, the Afterglow NUR headset, Afterglow Nur, whatever you want to call it, actually has damn good audio quality for a headset of what its price usually would be and comparative level headsets. It's actually really damn good, and I was pleasantly surprised for the simple reason is I am familiar with other products in the Afterglow series, the level 1 chat headsets, the level 3 and level 5 stereo headsets. Those, in my opinion, are all pretty damn bad headsets, and the price they charge on them is basically just capitalizing on a lot of kids who see their streamers with them and they see their favorite YouTubers with them and things like that, and they want a headset and they think that's it. So having used and tested some of those headsets in the past, I was very, very hesitant at first when I got my hands on this headset. But those trepidations, if you will, were quickly squashed. As soon as I started using this headset, I don't remember what the very first game I used it on, but it was a PlayStation 4 game, and I was extremely surprised straight away. With the sound quality on this headset, it's actually pretty damn good. If I was to give it a number, again, I don't like to think of these as reviews, but if I was to give the actual sound quality a number out of 10, I would probably give it a 9 for its comparative products in other manufacturers, as well as the relative price for it. It's roughly a 9 out of 10. That's a pretty damn good for the audio quality, in my opinion. So that brings us to the one main negative and the giant con in the list of pros and cons of the Afterglow Nur headset. And in my opinion, it's a pretty damn big one, and it's arguably a fatal flaw. So it can, and I expect it to be a deal breaker for many people. So what is this fatal flaw of this headset? Well, it's the microphone. So first off, I'm not a big fan of boomless microphones, generally because they have issues. And the fact is, I like to have a microphone directly in front of my mouth, so I know that it's picking up what I'm saying. It's picking it up clear, probably at a decent volume, and there's no potential directional microphone issues or things not being picked up. Boomless microphones are generally not as good when it comes to that because they're further away. They might not pick something up as well. They might not pick something up as clear. You might sound a little bit further away, or sometimes it might just not pick it up at all, depending on the volume and the sensitivity of it all. So that's generally why I'm a fan of boom microphones versus boomless microphones. So we all know it's a boomless microphone on this Afterglow headset, but the problem is compound. It's a compound problem by several different reasons. One, I'm told the audio quality, I don't remember the specific audio quality at the time, but I'll get into that now in a minute. The actual audio quality, as reported to me from what I remember, is subpar. I've been told multiple times that the quality and the quality of everything coming through is just not great. It's okay, but it's not great. And I've used multiple different headsets with my friends before, and this is the only headset that they've actually told me that, well, including any headset that wasn't absolutely useless, they've told me that this was just basic. You know, the audio quality coming through from my microphone to them was basic. So that's a pretty big kind of issue at first. But all of that is compounded by the next one. And this one I can personally vouch for as well, because I've actually given this headset to other friends to test so I could hear it from that aspect of it. So first off, well, we've already covered the first part of it, which was the audio quality from the microphone. Secondly, is because it's a boomless microphone, whatever way they have it set up, it feels like it's not a proper quality directional mic. What I mean by that is you sound a bit far away. So you sound like you're talking into a microphone from maybe 2 or 3 feet away, as opposed to a microphone that is 2 or 3 inches from your mouth. Again, a common problem with boomless microphones in comparison to standard boom microphones. And here is the biggest issue of the whole thing whatsoever. So when you take the fact that it has generally basic quality sound, it sounds like you're a little bit far away from the microphone. This boomless microphone on this Afterglow headset does have that whole... It depends on where you look and who you talk to, because this kind of problem and issue has many different names, but it has what's called the bucket problem, the barrel problem, the underwater problem, the fishbowl problem. Whatever it is you want to talk about, or whatever way you want to call it, this microphone does have this issue, and it basically, when you combine all three of these together, it makes the microphone unusable for online play. And I'm not just saying that to be over the top and dramatic. It's absolutely unusable. It's, if you have to put up with someone using this microphone for more than 60 seconds, you will either just lose your shit at them or you will just rage quit. It's that simple. It's to a point where it's unusable for the simple reason is you've got the basic audio quality from the microphone. You have the fact that the boomless microphone isn't, it feels like it's not set up directionally properly, so that you sound like you're maybe 4 feet away from it. And with the echoey barrel bucket whatever problem, it basically feels like you're sitting 4 or 5 feet away from a subpar microphone with your head in a barrel wrapped in a towel underwater. So it's got the whole weird echoey, muffled kind of weird sound going on the whole time. And when you put all of those together, it just makes it unusable. So the basic way I like to round this one up for this particular headset is if you are after a wireless headset for possibly your PS3 or PS4 strictly for audio quality, this is a damn good headset. Depending on the price you can find it for. When I got my hands on one of these for free, as I said, I won it in a sales competition. The availability of these at the time was roughly $150 and €150. Before actually making this video, I had a quick look. Nowadays you're looking somewhere between $80 to $100 and roughly €100 to €120 to pick up one of these headsets. So, having said that, the quality of the headset is actually generally worth the money. However, it will all depend on two things. One, can you take the chance, and is it okay for you to potentially not have a working volume wheel based on whatever version of your PlayStation 4 firmware may or may not play well with it? And once again, the other huge con and huge caveat to actually take into consideration is the microphone quality. Personally, I would say if you plan on playing online and talking with anyone in any way, shape, or form, even if they're your friends or not, this is not the headset for you. For the simple reason is the microphone is absolutely unusable. Be it the actual sound quality from the normal headset being a 9 out of 10, I would give the microphone a straight up 1 out of 10. Completely unusable. How a headset manufacturer managed to just completely negate and neglect the microphone in relatively premium product is beyond me. So I've got to say that that's my experience and how I've found the Afterglow Nur or Afterglow NUR headset. Depending on what it means for you and what it needs for you, is this a headset for you? It could potentially be. Just take all this into consideration. As well, at the same time, you could potentially look at other manufacturers, see what they have in their line of the same kind of money or a price or availability that you're willing to spend. So, has this been informative? Have you tried out this headset? Have you been in the market for a headset? What's the deal with it? Is this going to be one for you or one that you're going to skip? Maybe thanks to some of the, informing you of some of the big cons. Is a good microphone key? Is it vital for you, or are you only after a wireless headset? So let me know all of that in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You can follow me on Twitter, details in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the rest of the videos in my channel.